Now, we are going to connect all these routers. Remember in our last tutorial, when I was talking about connections, I said that we have to use serial connections if you want to connect two routers together. This is what we are going to do now. First, click on the router. In order to connect two routers together using a serial connection, we need to select a port here, drag it and drop it here. We need to install a port on all the routers. First, let's just zoom in. This is our router, the first one. So what we will do, we will turn off the router. We will select WIC2T. As you can see here, it says the dual serial port WAN interface cards, WICs, feature Cisco's new compact high-density smart serial connector to support a wide variety of electrical interface when used with the appropriate transition cable. So what we're going to do, we're going to drag it and drop it here, WIC2T, and turn it on. If you don't have this port here, you won't be able to connect two routers using serial connection. So we need to install this one. Close it, click on router 6, zoom in, then you can see the slot clearly. Turn it off, drag WIC2T, drop it here, turn it on. Same way, do it on two other routers. Zoom in, turn it off, WIC2T, drag it and drop it here, turn it on, close. Same here, click here, turn it off, zoom in, slot 0, WIC2T, drag it and drop it here, turn it on. Now what happens? You can click on serial DTE, click on router, select serial 0/0/0, serial 0/0/0. Same way, this one will be 0/0/1, 0/0/0. We have two ports, two serial ports on each router, serial port 0 and serial port 1. Click here, serial 0/0/1. Click here, 0/0/0. Now this is not good enough. We need to configure routers. How to configure routers? First, click on the router. And then click on config. After that, you can see that this one is our fast Ethernet 0. So click on fast Ethernet 0 and then write down the IP address, which is 192.168.1.1. If you click here, the mask will come up. Remember to turn on fast Ethernet 0. The next thing we will do, close this one, click on router 6, click on configure, click on fast Ethernet 0, and then write down the IP address here, which is 192.168.2.1. Click here and the subnet mask will come up. turn on the port. Close this one. The same way, click on router 7. Click on config, fast Ethernet 0. Type 192.168.3.1. Turn on the port, close it. Click router 8. Config fast Ethernet 0. Type 192.168.4.1. Turn on the port. Now, we also have to assign IP addresses to our serial ports. So let's write the IP addresses first. Let's assume the IP address of this port is 12.0.0.2 and this one is 12.0.0.3, 13.0.0.2, 13.0.0.3, 14.0.0.2, 14.0.0.3. Okay. Now, we will assign these IP addresses to our serial ports. Again, click on the router. Under the config option, you will see serial 0/0/0/0. Click here. Write down the IP address, which is 12.0.0.2. Click here. The subnet mask will come up and turn on the port. Close it. Click here. Now, for this router, we have used two serial ports. Serial port, serial 0/0/0 and 0/0/1. So we will assign these two IP addresses together. So click on serial 0/0/0. Type the IP address 12.0.0.3. Turn on. Close it. Sorry, I forgot to do for 0/0/1. So click here, write 13.0.0.2, subnet mask. Then you have to turn on the port. Click here, same way, serial 0/0/0. It's going to be 13.0.0.3. Power on the port. This one, it's going to be 14.0.0.2. Don't forget to turn it on, otherwise it's not going to work. As you can see, these are red, but now these are green because we have successfully assigned IP addresses to these serial ports. So now we are here. The last thing we need to do, click here, but we have used only one serial port here, which is serial 0/0/0. Write down the IP address, which is 14.0.0.3. Turn it on. All these are green. Now the next thing we'll do, we will do the routing for these 4 networks.